Hello everyone, this is LW Gaming and welcome back for a Langrisser M video. Today's video we're going to take a look at the future Langrisser series. Yes, finally, the wait is over. Because some of you guys might be curious like when am I doing this series again? Well, just want to let you know that I haven't forgot about the series based on what I said in the community post. So anyways, here it is. This is Future Langrisser, February 2023 edition. So first off, with what's going on within the CN patch, we got two new heroes coming to the game, which we'll look into really soon, like right now. So anyways, these are the new heroes we got for this patch. So we got Sagni or Sagni, depending on how you want to pronounce it. He is going to be a holy unit or a mage unit. If you it depends on which class you choose. I think you would choose holy if you want to pair him up with a Lightbringer, that is. With the class boost. Well, kind of similar to faction buff, but it's for holy class. Anyways, a Sagni or Sagni has the ability to mess around with enemies' mobility, and also while doing that also doesn't allow guarding as well. So basically, he is pretty much an excellent addition to the game when it comes to uh, removing the guard annoying guard effect from the opponents. But however, in the game itself, there's already other units that can do basically the same thing like this. But Sagni is probably more dangerous to when you come to think about it. Anyway, Sagni is actually part of Strategic Masters, Ules, and Mythical Realm. Yep, based on what I'm looking at right here, these three factions are pretty solid. So if you happen to be playing with these factions at all, Signy will be a nice addition to your team. And the next unit we got is Amadeus, or I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyways, his class choices are interesting. Both class paths are cavalry. Kind of reminds me of other units as well, like Kentucky, Rain, Estelle. I I think there are more, but I couldn't think of any more of that. So, anyways, this guy is quite interesting. Especially when it comes to the amount of soldiers he lost. So, like depending on how low the soldiers' HP are, his offensive and defensive stats will increase, and it is based on the amount of soldiers' HP remaining. So, if it's low enough, he will be doing the maximum amount of the offensive defensive increase on his stats, which kind of reminds me of Samurai in some extent. Well, minus the part where he could range. I don't think he can range like that, but other than that, I mean, Samurai is a tank actually. So I think this guy is not necessarily a tank. I don't think he is because that would be kind of strange to have of the two units that does basically the same thing, which is technically shouldn't be possible. But I mean, there's something like that in the past, but not too similar, I would say. Anyways, moving on. He is part of Origins of Light, Strategic Masters, and Mythical Realm. So yeah, again, if you happen to be using those factions at all, he will be a good addition to your team if you need him. All right, next up, I believe this is yep, casting patterns skills. So anyways, this one is a interesting batch. I would say is a bit of a mad side or bad. I would say because most of them here are pretty much straightforward, and also some might not be helpful at all. So take Sholinka for example. Basically, her casting pattern skill increases her attack by 5%, and also when missing the kill with a 3C skill, the cooldown for that skill reduces by 3 turns. So as you can see, the only way you can actually get the full use out of this is that you don't kill your enemy on purpose, which most of the time is not going to help you much in the long run. because when you try to use those 3C, you're expecting your unit to kill, right? But with this kind of casting patterns, their casting pattern is basically wanting you to not kill your enemy on purpose to to get to get this effect completely useful at the moment. So honestly, in my opinion, or like with most people's thoughts, this casting pattern is pretty much a pass or something like you shouldn't be fully casting. But I mean, even though if you end up fully casting her, that's not the end of the world because honestly, Shalinka's attack stat increase is actually okay, but the rest of it, no, just no. Like I mean, of course, I can see some plays with this, but most of the time, your 3C was meant to kill an enemy. But with this kind of reduction on this, if you don't kill an enemy, I mean, I can see some trade-offs on that, but most of the time, it's not beneficial. Anyways, moving on. Varash, this is something that could probably changes the way how he works. So, anyways, I mean in a good way, I would say. So, anyways, Varash, his attack increased by 5% with his casting pattern skill, and also when in immortal status, which is his form when he is reviving repeatedly, with a few HP left, always attacks first when actively entering combat. So, yeah, as you can see there, this is pretty useful. This is pretty useful when it comes to like reviving. Like when he dies, he'll get to attack first every time whenever he's in that state, and also when entering combat. So that means that if his enemy's turn, they could straight up kill you there. So, but you do use your revive though. So just FYI, if you're thinking how this thing will actually work, I gotta tell you, it's not necessarily overpowered. Like what you thought it would be. Like if you thought like he will first strike no matter what, no, he only first strike when he's attacking. Kind of like what Lucretia's golem does with her exclusive equipment. All right, next up we got Angelina. Yep. First off we got Shofaniel already got the casting patterns in global already. Now it is Shelfenda's twin sister's turn, Angelina. Anyways, her attack increases by 5%. When triggering Act Again, it has a 30% chance to gain attack plus 20%, which is last 4 turns. This is straightforward. Basically, if when you trigger when Angelina trigger her Act Again effect, she has a fair amount of chance of be able to allow you to do even more damage with the attack stat increase by 20%, and that lasts for 4 turns. You could imagine this as a faction buff, I would say, because the duration is 4 turns. But don't think about that too much like that because they're not the same thing. And also, last but not least, we got Oliver. The attack and crit increased by 5% when on defensive terrain. When triggering talent effects, it steals one more buff. So there are conditions that you need to do in order for this to work. So Oliver needs to stand on defensive terrain. It doesn't matter which one it is, as long as it grants like some defensive stats. He will be able to steal one more buff when attacking an enemy with a certain thing. I think it's just any attacks. I think even skill usage. Honestly, I can see a lot of use for this, but most of the time you probably don't need it because Oliver is an SR, and I hardly see him in playoffs at all. Not even one time, I think. So yeah, Oliver is like a bit of a meh, I would say. So yeah, most of those casting pattern skills are pretty much passable, but except for with some exception for Varash, because this is a well deserved casting pattern skill for him, because nowadays like in global he does suck a lot when it comes to immortal status kind of thing. Like whenever he tries to attack, he always get killed immediately. With this change, it's actually allowing him to be able to deal full damage before he dies, which honestly it does actually help him out a lot when it comes to be able to first strike. when attacking, of course. All right, next, moving on. We got new exclusive equipments. The first one is pretty surprising, if you guys didn't notice. Watham is getting a new headwear as an exclusive. I think this is the first limited unit to receive a custom exclusive equipment here. I mean, not custom, I mean exclusive equipment. So the reason why I say this is the first time is because he's literally the first unit as a limited unit receiving this. And also he's not a collab unit, so that's actually makes sense, you know. So anyways, his headwear increases his damage by 10% when entering combat with unit with an enemy with despair. Yeah, a lot of bit of a weird sentence in there, but what I'm trying to say is that he does more damage against enemies with despair, and also when using a skill, the cooldown of that skill is reduced by 1 turn. So if you want to use the Watham's 3C, that's a 7 turn cooldown. And if you happen to have clock on him as well, that basically reduces his cooldown to 6 by 6 turns, which is pretty massive if it does stack. That is, and that which means that he will be able to use that 3C again after 2 more turns. Okay, next up we got Clotaire. His is also a headwear like Watham. Anyways, when any ally has Shattered Flame, I mean when any target, I mean I'm sorry, not ally. When any target has Shattered Flame, allies within Clotaire's 2 range gets plus 10% attack and int increase, or maybe just depending on what unit uses as the offensive capabilities. When dealing skill damage, when dealing skill damage gets plus 25% damage for the next skill. So that one is really confusing when it comes to wording here, but I want to go straight to the point here. So, anyways, whenever he uses a skill, his next skill used will be his next skill used will have an increased damage. So, for example, when you do the AOE one time, the next time will be even more damage. So I can see a lot of use for this. So this only works well if Clotaire has a clock enchantment. Because I believe most of the AoE skill he has like at least about 4 turn or 5 turn cooldown. Yeah, if Clotaire have clock on him, that will actually be helpful because you'll be able to do your AoE again the next time when you do it. So I'll probably say, why would you not clock him if you already have the resources to do so? But unless you don't have enough, which is understandable. But so overall, those exclusives, some of you guys may be asking which ones are the best so far. Honestly, both are pretty solid. Like with Watham, be able to get his skill back a little faster than before, it's a huge improvement. And Clotaire as well, be able to deal extra damage on his next AoE attack after using the first one, and also support your allies by increasing their offensive stats by 10% within his 2 range radius. Yeah, I would say this is pretty solid. This is way better than looking at the casting pattern skill patches because, like, casting patterns, most of them are pretty much skippable, but except for one though, which is Varash. I can see a lot useful Varash, but most of the time you probably don't want to run him at some point. But you know, I mean, it's there for a reason. But you can actually use him in PvE if you want. But mostly in PvP, he might be useful, but in some boxes. All right, for the closing note, we got some additional information we need to know about. So additionally, when I was recording this video, someone updated me about what's going on with the major update banner lineup. Because apparently the first one I'm gonna say right now is that Girl in the Shell returns doing this major update as a radar banner with Live Genesis, but there is no sign of 0.2 or Z2 for short. However, thankfully, someone in the community updated me about what the banner lineup might potentially have, because because like Z2 was nowhere to be found in this major update, but it is rumored that she will be on a Destiny banner, which is next major update, of course. So yeah, it's a bit of a shock to hear that Z2 is actually part of Destiny, but we'll see if that's actually even a thing because in the past major updates we had so far, sometimes nobody got a Destiny banner. Like for example, Ricky and McLean, they don't have Destiny at all. Both are rate ups. So I'm hoping that this is not the case for Z2 because honestly, I understand why they don't want to do that, but if they go the route where both rate ups, so yeah, I can see why because Z2 is just so broken. But other than that, if they allow Z2 to be Destiny, then yeah, I don't see anyone will complain about that one. Anyways, the next thing we need to talk about is that Forbidden Battleground is expected to come back in the upcoming major update in China. Honestly, to those guys who likes Forbidden Battleground, there you go. This is the event that will be coming back later. And then the next thing I noticed is like a new auto chess in the major update, not like the one we had back then. But this might have already been mentioned before. It's just that I forgot if I talked about this before. But anyways, my memory is kind of fizzy for a second because like I'm not sure if I covered this already. But there's a new auto chess. I believe it has already ran before, but I just forgot which update it was. So, anyways, hope you all find this video informative, and see you all next time.